Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video I thought I would go through in like a lot of depth how to do a smoky eye. I have done smoky eyes on my channel before, I'll link as many as I can down below, but I haven't really gone into like proper depth of how I do it, and I get so many questions on a daily basis asking how to do it, and people saying that they could never ever do a smoky eye, like they just mess it all up and everything. So I thought that this video would be really useful for those people out there that are starting with makeup and really want to learn how to do a smoky eye like the easy way. It literally took me so long to be able to do a smoky eye. It just, practice makes perfect, that's literally what it is, and you just got to keep on trying and eventually you'll get there. But I hope this video is kind of like an easy way for you guys to get into it, and hopefully I can give you some tips and tricks to make it slightly easier. Before we jump right in, please remember to subscribe to my channel, and if you want to see how I created this smoky eye look, then please keep on watching. Okay, so of course to start off this look I'm going to be priming my eyelids. This is so important no matter what eye look you're doing, like always prime your eyes, whether that's with a concealer and a powder or with an actual eyeshadow primer. I always take concealer and powder just because I think it's so much easier and you don't need to go out and buy like another product, you know. So I'm going to be taking my LA Girl Pro Conceal. Just going to take this on my eyelids, and then I'm going to take my beauty blender, which isn't actually wet, but oh well, and just blend that all in. And then going to set that down with my clear complexion powder by Rimmel. All of my brushes are like messed up from being in my case when I went away, and I'm really upset about it. So I'm just going to set this down, and that will literally create the perfect base for your eyeshadow. Okay, so the next step you want to think about is your transition colour. You definitely need a transition colour, especially for smoky eyes. If you go straight in with the dark blacks and greys, or just dark colours in general, straight away it's going to mess up the look completely, and it's not going to merge well and blend in as well if you don't have a transition base already down. The palettes I always used when I was first learning how to do a smoky eye and practicing a smoky eye was the Urban Decay Naked 2 palette. I just think this palette is perfect if you're learning how to do it, because as you can see there's like a transition all the way down to the dark colours. So it starts with greys and then goes down to the darker colours, and I just think that's perfect because you want to kind of like go slowly and build up the shade as you go, and you have to start with like lighter shades, then going with greys, and then going with the black at the end. So I think this palette is so perfect. So if you want to learn how to do a smoky eye, I really recommend getting this palette. I also loved this palette because of the transition shade. So the transition shade I always use in this palette is this colour here. It's called Tease, and I don't really know how to describe the colour of this. It's kind of like a purpley beige grey colour. I've never like seen a colour like this in any other palette really, especially one that's kind of like made as the why can't I say that word? Made as the transition colour. So to find out what colour transition shade you need to think about what kind of toned eye look you're doing. So if you're doing a cool toned smoky eye, so that's like greys, blacks, and then like silvery metallic eyelid, then you're going to want a cool toned transition shade. So that colour I just showed you is absolutely perfect for that because it is a cool toned grey purple colour. If you're doing a warm toned smoky eye, so that includes all the warmer tones like reds, pinks, and you're doing that kind of smoky eye, then you're going to want to use a warmer toned transition shade such as an orange or a warm toned brown. That's something that's very important when you're working with a smoky eye, because if you use a cool toned transition colour and then go in with warm toned colours, it's just not going to look right. So make sure you've got that down, and then you're literally so good to go. So I'm going to be taking my Morphe M441 brush and some of that colour called Tease, and I'm just going to start taking that into my crease. So with this transition shade I am going quite messily. I mean, it really doesn't matter what this really looks like. You just want to make sure it's in your crease. Especially with a smoky eye, you want to make sure it goes up a bit above your crease, because a smoky eye can start to look really dark. The next thing you want to think about is whether you want to have a rounded smoky eye or a winged out smoky eye. So today I'm going to be doing a winged out smoky eye because I love doing liquid liner and wings with my smoky eye, and with a rounded one you can't really do a wing. So I'm going to be taking some tape. If you prefer not to use tape because you think it like pulls at your eyes, which I know a lot of people don't like using tape on their skin, just work like from scratch, and then at the end you can clean it up with a makeup wipe or anything like that. So with the tape, and this is the same with any eyeshadow look, especially a smoky eye because it's a lot more bold and dramatic. You want to make sure that the tape lines up with the corner of your outer eye up until the end of your eyebrow. Now I know that mine's got a little gap, but that's because I usually make my eyebrows longer when I fill them in, but you want to make sure that it's at that angle because that's when it's going to look, I don't know, it all just pulls it together more. Right, so then I'm going to move on to more of the grey colours to start building up the smoky eye. So the colour I tend to go for is this one here, called Busted. Now I know it looks very dark in the pan, but it's actually really not. I mean, I don't want to say it's not pigmented because it is pigmented, but it doesn't come across that colour on your eye unless you build it up a lot. So yeah, it's very buildable, that's what I'm trying to say. I'm going to be taking this Real Techniques base shadow brush. Now I usually use other brushes, like I would probably take this E17 brush from Morphe, but as you can see it's kind of... But this brush is just as good, and I remember using this brush all the time when I was learning. So I'm going to be taking that grey colour, and the first place I'm going to apply it is on the outer V of my eye, like so. So I'm just kind of packing that down and kind of wiggling it around and blending it a little bit as I go. And then once I've blended it quite a lot, I'm then going to start taking a tiny bit into my crease. And as you can see, I'm kind of bringing it outwards as well. So when you've got a shape that kind of looks like that, I'm then going to go back in with my blending brush and just blend out those edges. The trick with a smoky eye is you don't want any harsh lines, you want it to all be blended, and you basically want to start with the darker colours at the bottom of your eye and then merging up to the transition shade that's at the top. So as you can see, that's already made it fairly smoky, and I'm basically just going to go in with these exact same steps over and over until I'm happy with the darkness of it. So yeah, it does take time and practice, but honestly the best way is to just keep on going in and in. Don't take a massive bit at the start and just be like, oh, this will be quicker, I'll just take loads at the beginning and blend it out and it'll be fine. That's not going to be fine at all. You need to take it slowly and gradually. So I'm going to go in with my other eye. Okay, so once I'm happy with the amount of grey I have on my eye, then we're going to go in with the black. So this is the bit where everyone gets really scared and like doesn't really know what to do, and it can make or break the eye look. I do understand that, and it does take practice. There's been so many times where I've applied black onto my eye and just messed up everything. So it does take practice, and that's why I'm going to try and... Can you shut up? There's like birds making so many noise outside. Just ignore. So for the black colour, I'm going to be using a very, very tiny, precise brush. This is the Morphe E36 brush, and I love this for dark colours because if you're going with a precise, small brush, it's going to be very easy to build it up. If you're going with a brush like this one or the blending brush at the start, you're going to add so much colour straight away, and then it's going to be so difficult to blend, and it's just like really, really difficult, and you can get it in places that you don't want it to be. So a brush like this is absolutely perfect. Another brush I recommend is the pencil brush by Morphe. This is the M431 brush. Again, very, very good. I just like this one better because it's more of like a domed brush rather than a pencil brush, you know? The black I'm going to be taking is obviously this one at the bottom called Blackout. As you can see, this is a very, very black, which is another reason why I love this palette, because I feel like a lot of palettes nowadays do have a black, but they're kind of like an off black or a grey black or a browny black, and it's just like, no, I want a straight black. So I'm going to be taking some on my brush. First thing I do is kind of line out a wing, if that makes sense, with the eyeshadow. I don't go in like I did with the grey colour, because then it's going to turn out like what just happened with this grey. So I take the black in a wing shape, and then I just keep on blending it out. Obviously it doesn't have to be neat because you're not actually creating a real like wing. Then I'm going to go back in with the Real Techniques brush and start blending that out nice and gently. You want to make sure you don't have too much of the grey still left on this brush, otherwise it will make it really, really bold. I'm then going to go back in with this first blending brush and then blend out the edges with that one. I'm not going to blend out the edges with the one with the grey on it because that will bring the grey up really, really high. So you want to take the blending brush you had with the transition shade on it. So I'm just going to keep on repeating that step until I'm happy with the amount of black on my eye and how dark it is and everything. I'm literally going in with every single brush. I'm literally using all of them. That's a key with smoky eye. You don't want to be using the same brush because that's when things start to get really, really messy. So I would definitely recommend purchasing a couple of brushes. I mean, you can get them so cheap, like Real Techniques are cheap, Morphe's cheap. Is she kidding? My mum's just decided to like knock some nails into the wall, so yeah, if you hear that, I'm really sorry. So now I'm just going to go on to the other eye and do the exact same. Ow! I just put myself in the eye. I'm just getting that basic wing shape and then going in with this brush. Right, that's it. So as you can see, that's pretty much a smoky eye. Obviously I'm going to put on like a pigment or glitter on the eyelid. So if I take off this tape, you can see that it leaves a really nice sharp line, which I think looks so flattering on everyone, and it means that you don't need to like go in with liner because you've pretty much already got liner. So for the lid colour, I'm going to be going in with another shade from this palette, and this is YDK. This colour, as you can see, it's very well loved. I'm going to be taking this on my Click and Makeup 007 brush and just applying that on my eyelid. This doesn't need like Fix Plus or you to wet your brush or anything, but if you do, it makes it even more pigmented, so it's completely your choice as to how pigmented you want it. I'm then going to go back in with the blending brush and just make sure those two colours in the middle are blended and it's not just like a stark line of like pigment and then the rest of the eyeshadow. So as you can see, that's pretty much a smoky eye done, and it's really not taking me that long. The only thing I would do as well is add some black on the lower lash line. Again, with this step, you really don't want to add too much colour. You literally want to pick up the tiniest amount, maybe even the excess you have on the brush already from the top, and just line. I'm not going to do it now because I don't have foundation on, but just line the lower lash and then take your blending brush from the beginning and blend it out like you did with the rest of the shadows. And then if you want to add a black pencil liner in your waterline, that can make the whole look even more smoky. If you do want to add top liner, it's so easy with this because you literally just need to follow the line of the eyeshadow and then you're pretty much done. So I've just added some eyeliner because I am going to be adding lashes, so I just wanted something that they could sit on. I'm just going to coat my lashes quickly with this Benefit Roller Lash. I recently got this because obviously everyone's been raving about it for God knows how long, and it's actually incredible. Like, I understand why people rave about it like they do. I just applied some Red Cherry Stevie lashes. More ones like these still look so beautiful with this look. So yeah, I'm really happy with it. So everybody, that is how I do my smoky eye. I really hope this helped a lot of you out. Let me know if it did because I'd love to know. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to give me a big thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure you leave some video requests down below because I do run out of ideas, and yeah, I would love to hear from you if you have any ideas of what you want to see from me. I hope you guys have a lovely rest of the day, and I will see you in my next video.